I just did a live video on this, and I deleted it because I got a little bit distracted and got off topic just a little bit. So I want to be more precise in this video. So here's what I'll say, just to reiterate. I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw Bill Barr did an interview, first interview he's done since the January 6th breaching of the U.S. Capitol. And he made a point that said, questioning the integrity of our elections is what led to that incitement. And that's common sense to me. Okay? That's common sense. And I got to thinking about it, and I've been thinking a lot about this, and I've been thinking about how people want to refer to 1776 and things like that. Yeah, pretty much. When you look at the American Revolution, and I noticed some people have come on and started watching this, and if you watched the earlier one or watched some of the earlier one, then I apologize for re-going over some of this stuff. But if you look at the American Revolution, what you see is the phrase, no taxation without representation, because Mother England was doing some stuff. They were taxing us. We didn't have anybody over there that could question it or try to vote against it, and so we got mad and we were like, you know what, we're gonna be our own country. And so Declaration of Independence, you know the rest of the story. And so basically it's the same thing right now. If you question the integrity of our elections, and if a lot of people question the integrity of our elections, then you feel like your voice doesn't matter. It's the same exact thing that happened in 1776. These people felt like they didn't have a voice. And if you feel like you don't have a voice, well, guess what? That's when you stand up and you fight. And that's what a lot of people felt like they were doing on January 6th. They felt like they were fighting. Here's where I want to caution you, because those are really big words. Those are big boy words, saying that our election is rigged. Let me ask you something, and I want you to consider this. What if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? What if the election wasn't stolen? Then all of a sudden you've got a revolution for what? For nothing. And a lot of people are going to die for what? Nothing. Nothing. So when people come at me and they say, hey, the election was rigged, there's no way that Biden got more votes than Barack Obama, I just want to give people some things to consider, okay? Barack Obama did get a lot of votes in 2008 and 2012, okay? A lot of those Obama voters sat out the 2016 election. But what happened was, over the last 4 years, Trump has used divisive language. And listen, if you supported Trump and stuff, I'm not trying to dump on you right now, okay? I'm ready to come together, and I'm ready to work together, and I'm ready for all of us to be Americans again. I'm just telling you from my perspective so that you can have something else to think about. What happened was Trump used divisive language. And so he said, hey, the radical left, these people are the problem. And then like these Republicans that came out against him, he called them weak Republicans. Basically, anybody who went against him, he tried to trash and bring down. That's very, very divisive. And so in 2020, he got 74 million people to vote for him because they believed in that message. But there were 81 million people plus who didn't believe in that message. They didn't believe in the divisiveness and criticizing anyone who doesn't agree with you. And so that's why Joe Biden was able to get more votes than Barack Obama. It's a very simple explanation that I want you, if you think the election was stolen, I want you to consider that. You had people came out, you know what? I voted for Joe Biden, but I didn't really vote for Joe Biden. Really, I voted against Trump because I believe in united states, not divided states. And I want you to get that perspective from me. This is politics to me. Like, it's something, I get it. People are passionate about it. Should have been Kanye West, you know. I don't know. I think Kanye would probably be pretty divisive too. Now, and I'm gonna let you finish in a second. That's a joke. But politics to me should be all of us, especially if we do live in a democracy where we all get votes. Politics should be about working together so that this country can be best for all of us. That's what I believe. And so and you don't have to believe that, because I know a lot of people vote with their personal life really being the deciding factor. I know a lot of people in this area, they vote they vote with their religion. They say, you know what, like abortion, for instance, is a hot button issue, and you know what, if that's what you believe, I ain't trying to trash you, okay? I ain't trying to trash you. But like me personally, I want to listen to everyone, and I want to hear everyone's perspective. That way, my vote can go towards this country being best for everyone, not just me. So, like, I vote for, you know, I keep my personal opinions and views in mind when I go vote, but really I want what's best for everyone. And a president who uses divisive language isn't best for everyone. And so I think a lot of people recognize that. People didn't vote for Joe Biden. Maybe some people did, but most people voted against Donald Trump because they don't believe in that divisive language. Trump's been saying for a long time, a year leading into this election, that the election was going to be rigged, the Democrats were going to rig it. And because he's been saying that, a lot of people believe it. And a lot of people think the election was rigged. And so I just want to caution you. I just want to give you something else to think about. If you think the election is rigged, take a second to yourself, sit down, take a deep breath, and think about, is there a logical explanation for this? Because the number one thing that I hear from people who say the election was stolen is there's no way that Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama. So just ask yourself, is there a logical explanation for this? Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing that we all have to do. Is there a logical explanation for this? And not just for this election. That's a really solid thing to do all the time. In anything that comes up in your life. Because we're quick to believe conspiracy theories and things of that nature. Especially like with the QAnon stuff. The QAnon stuff is just, it's completely blown my mind how big it has gotten, and some of the stuff that people believe, and I don't understand like why they believe some of the things that they believe. But you take like it's almost like these Q people take like the very first thing that comes to their mind, and they're like, yep, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. And conspiracy theories are really fun. And sometimes conspiracy theories turn out to be true. But like the QAnon conspiracy theory and its following is actually very dangerous to our democracy. And that's been like my biggest worry looking out at all of this has been, you've got all these people over here who say the election was stolen. And again, if you think the election was stolen, then you feel like your vote doesn't matter. You feel like your voice doesn't matter. And that's dangerous territory, because it's exactly why we had an American Revolution. No taxation without representation. It's the exact same thing. But on top of these people who think the election was stolen, you've got this QAnon group that has grown exponentially for some reason. I have no idea how people can buy into this stuff, because these QAnon people that do these Q drops or whatever, and none of this stuff ever materializes. And they just come out and they say, well, it's a part of the plan. It's a part of the plan. This happened, this changed, it's a part of the plan. And like people keep buying it for some, like I have no idea how people could be so vulnerable to this when none of this stuff ever materializes. But so you've got all these people that think the election was stolen. Then you've got like these right-wing extremists, like you're talking Proud Boys and things like that. You've got this Boogaloo group over here that has apparently, and listen, I don't know the history of Boogaloo, okay, but I've had some people who, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Felt like that spoke to them in the past, and apparently that has evolved over the years to be something more than what it was originally intended to be. And now you've got like some really serious people who identify as Boogaloo, and they want anarchy, and they want to bring the system of government down. I think I mentioned like Proud Boys and other far right extremists. So you've got these people, all these people are basically on the same side. They might not agree with each other. But right now, they do, in that they all kind of feel like the system needs to fail. And that is a really bad place to be in this country. And so that's why I want to talk to you, and I want to ask you to be very reasonable right now. Sit down, take a deep breath, okay? And realize if you say that the election was stolen, those are very, very strong words. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think our government has worked for a while, but I think it's fixable. And I think the way we fix it is that we, the voters, do our job to elect people and then hold them accountable. Like we have to keep up with what they are doing. We have to keep up with bills they are passing, and we have to hold them accountable. That's how we fix the system. We become informed voters. That's how we do it. Because ultimately, the country, if we are a democratic republic, the country belongs to us. We are the ones with the power. We vote. And voting carries a lot of responsibility. We've got to research the people that we are voting for, and we have to be on them constantly and let them know that their livelihood is at stake if they don't do what we, the constituents, want them to do. Because I think right now what happens is people just, they turn on their CNN, they turn on their Fox News or whatever, and then they see that. And that's all they see. And when they see that, they don't get the entire picture. They get what those 24-hour news networks want them to get. We have to find a way, we have to figure out as a voting population how we can get more of the picture. And it starts with being more responsible as voters. It starts as putting effort into being a better informed voter. You've heard the saying, opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one. Informed opinions are like clean buttholes. Having one takes some effort on your part. And we've got to put that effort forward to clean our buttholes. We have to. Because right now, what I see as someone, like, I'm a news enthusiast. Okay, I'm a news enthusiast. So I read a lot of it. I try to stay as informed as possible, and I'll get on Facebook. And this is not just like conservatives. Okay, it's both sides. Both sides make some really like not great points, and it feels like their opinion has been forced upon them as opposed to, actually forming their opinion themselves. Because, I mean, man, someone like Tucker Carlson, and this is interesting to me. Did you know that Tucker Carlson got sued and went to court, and his lawyers successfully argued in court that no reasonable person would believe anything that he says? Successfully argued that in court. Man, I got people on my timeline sharing videos of something Tucker Carlson says, thinking that he makes a good point. Dude, he doesn't even think he makes a good point. He legally argued in court that he doesn't make good points. We've got to recognize that. We've got to be informed if we're going to vote. And when we vote, we got to follow up. If Joe Biden, who will be sworn in and will be president tomorrow, no matter what the QAnon people want you to believe, When he does something I don't like, I'm going to point it out. If he does something I really don't like, I'm going to tag him on Twitter. I don't know. I'll write a letter. I'll call my representatives here in Tennessee, and I'll say, hey, I don't like this. Because even though I voted for him, I don't 100% support him, because we shouldn't. We shouldn't 100% support any elected official. It's okay to criticize. People get confused about the First Amendment, freedom of speech. What freedom of speech does is it gives you the freedom to say anything that you want without repercussion from the government. You cannot be persecuted for things you say against the government, which is important. The reason why it's in there is because there is a history all over the world of people who criticize the government and are punished for it. They're put to death for it. And our forefathers were smart enough to say, no, we need people who will criticize the government when they've got something wrong with it. And that directly ties into their life back in 1760 or whenever they got to whenever the forefathers got to America at various times throughout the 13 original colonies. They knew that they needed to be able to criticize Mother England without repercussion. And they saw that that was something that they wanted for the American people. And that's what freedom of speech is. You don't have to fear persecution from the government. And you don't in this country. And that's why it's very important that we use our voice to be critical when it's needed and when it's necessary. But in order to be critical, in order to have an opinion, we have to be well informed, because that is also very important. Having an opinion is fine. Having an ill-informed opinion is not fine. Good thing we are not experiencing the French Revolution. It's kind of felt like it at times. It's kind of felt like it at times. I've seen a lot of comparisons to, Marie Antoinette saying, "Let them eat cake." I've seen a lot of comparisons to, our government getting together and passing the stimulus checks. Like, here, I know that you're in danger of going bankrupt and losing everything you have, but don't worry. Here's $600. To them, it felt kind of like a let them eat cake moment. That's really all I wanted to say, though. I wanted to get that point across and just say that, like, the words, our election was stolen, those are really heavy words. And if you're not certain that the election was stolen, because honestly, nobody, no citizen, none of us have proof that the election was stolen. And so I think there's a difference between saying the election was stolen with certainty. There's a difference between that and saying, well, I think the election was stolen. You can believe that, but saying it with absolute certainty, this election was stolen, those are really heavy, dangerous words. And you need to think about, like I said, just one last time, just sit down, take a deep breath, and say, is there a reasonable explanation for this? Is there a reasonable explanation for this? And there is. More people voted in 2020 than ever before in our history. Donald Trump beat Donald Trump from 2016. Trump got more votes in 2020 than he got in 2016. more people voted. It was a very consequential election, and everybody knew it. Everybody understood the gravity of it. The Trump supporters came out en masse because they felt like they had to keep this train rolling, because they felt like Donald Trump was moving this country in the correct direction. And then 81 million people who don't support Donald Trump came out en masse because they felt like this country was not moving in the correct direction. And wherever you fall on that scale, the problem is that's how it's divided. It's Trump supporters versus everyone, literally everyone else. And that's not good. And that's why I think the message right now amongst citizens, I don't care what the politicians say. They can fight amongst each other. I don't care what the media says. I don't care. We as voters, we as citizens, right now it's important we come together and we start talking about the things that we have in common instead of the things that we find different with each other. And then we got to go from there. We got to learn to compromise, and we got to try to learn to move this country forward for everyone, not just your side, not just the other side, everyone. And that's my message for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you tuned in for a little bit, comment. If you want to talk more about this at all, if you disagree with something I say and you don't want to leave it down below for everybody to see, shoot me a message. I'll talk to you. We can have a civil conversation, I promise. If you do agree with something I say and you don't want to leave a comment below, shoot me a message. We'll expand on it a little bit. Thanks for stopping by.